So because of the Holi, your batch is getting only 5 weeks. So you can complete only 5 experiments. What we have planned is probably April 3rd, because you don't have any exam, you can come for lab on April 3rd. And after finishing your exams, that day lab is conducted for you. And that day you should complete one experiment and get the record corrected also. So before that, when you are coming for the next lab Thursday, all 4 experiments you keep ready, because we are observing that many have not paged the graph properly, you are not writing index. So today and tomorrow you little bit focus on the record and complete the record in all respects when you are coming for lab, so that at least 4 experiments can be corrected. Then it will be easy for you as well as the teacher to correct 2 more experiments. And how to prepare for the external examination also, I'll send a circular within a couple of days. And on Thursday also we'll announce in the classroom also in the regular lab session how to appear for an external examination, because the external examiner will be coming and he'll observe the exam, he'll take Viva. So write apart what actually you should write, that will be informed, and you should prepare on those lines for the lab is concerned. And also yesterday your class in charge has shared one circular. So it's an interactive session. By seeing your regular lab schedule, external lab schedule only, the timetable is framed. It is an interactive session with different teachers regarding the doubt. You can clarify your doubts, because tentatively your exams will be starting from 19th of April, because you should complete the semester. Again, immediately after your exams, the second sem will be starting for you. So if you have any notes in mathematics, PWE, physics, especially these 3 subjects only, you some slots are given. The teacher will be available those days. If possible, you can come offline. Otherwise, online also. 2 modes are but better you seek the permission of the teacher at what time you want to interact. And if offline, simultaneously you can, but in online it is difficult. So if you have any doubts, it's not a compulsory. The students who are interested, who wants to clarify your doubts, can come to the college or to online also. You can interact with the concerned teacher and you can clarify your doubts regarding the academics. So this we have planned, and schedule is also shared for you. In those lines, you should prepare for the exam.
Sir, next step, is it online or offline, sir?
Which one? Interactive session.
Next sem, sir.
What's Saikuma? We're not able to hear.
Next semester, sir.
It's a mixed mode. Initially, you will be having online theory, but to be decided because of spike in cases. As per the curriculum, 1 month will be online, then regularly 3 months will be regular semester. But how they revise, I don't know. But government and the university has to take a decision. But as of today, it is online for 1 month. Up to May or June, first week of June, it is online only. It will be communicated once it is finalized. Okay. So coming to the theory on this class, I require to complete the syllabus. Today I complete the syllabus. We have 2 topics. One is the plane electromagnetic wave equation, and second one Poynting theorem. In the last class, we have discussed the 4 Maxwell's equations. So Maxwell formulated 4 basic equations of electricity and magnetism, which can interpret in both in integral form and differential form. They are popularly known as Maxwell's equations. So the fundamental laws of electricity and magnetism are Gauss law of electricity, Gauss law of magnetism, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and Ampere's law. And Maxwell gave mathematical expressions for those, because actually they are the observations made by those scientists. And the first 2 equations, they represent steady field. So electric field is expressed in terms of electric field, and magnetic field divergence of V is 0. The remaining 2, third and fourth, they represent varying fields. So how electric field can be converted into magnetic field and vice versa. So Maxwell formulated the fundamental aspects of these both in integral and differential form that we have discussed. Then again he has introduced another concept which is called as conduction current. The conduction current, the existence of magnetic fields in empty space or dielectric medium, it is not because of conduction current, because in conduction in the empty space there is no material and they won't obey Ohm's law, but electromagnetic wave is traveling and magnetic fields are there. So to account for the existence of magnetic fields, Maxwell introduced the concept of conduction current and displacement current. So if you take a circuit, simple circuit, a resistor and capacitor are connected, and voltage is allowed to pass through a resistor and capacitor simultaneously. The nature of the current that flows through the resistor is different than the current that flows through a capacitor. So a constant voltage across a resistor will give rise to a continuous flow of current, V is proportional to I, or V is equal to IR, Ohm's law, which follows Ohm's law. And the conduction current, J conduction is sigma E, where sigma is the conductivity, E is the electric field intensity. But there will be a current through a capacitor only when the voltage is varying. So whenever voltage is varying, then only charge separation takes place, which causes certain charge distribution and giving rise to certain current. The current through the capacitor, this is called as displacement current. So the current through a resistor is the conduction current. The current through a capacitor is called as the displacement current. If you take a material, the total current should be a combination of both conduction current and displacement current. D is equal to epsilon E, where epsilon is permittivity of the medium, E is the electric field, D is called as the displacement current. So the total current, it is the sum of the conduction current and displacement current, and we have derived an expression for the total current J total also. In this expression, this is J total is equal to J conduction plus J displacement, which is sigma E plus dou D by dou T, where V is the displacement current. Is this visible? Slide, students?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, one more thing you should understand here. Actually, Maxwell's fourth equation is del cross B is equal to mu naught J, where B is magnetic induction, mu naught is permeability, J is the current. But here actually, because of the concept of displacement current, J can be replaced with J total, because it is a combination of both conduction current and displacement current. So again, the Maxwell's fourth equation is modified, which is called as modified Maxwell's fourth equation. That first we should know, then we should go for the plane electromagnetic wave equation. So according to Maxwell's fourth equation, we have del cross B is equal to mu naught J in free space, where mu naught is permeability of medium, J is the current. If you consider in a dielectric medium, the same can be written as del cross B is equal to mu J total, because mu naught is replaced by mu, because mu is the permeability of medium, and J is replaced with J total, because it is a combination of conduction current and displacement current, where mu is the permeability of the medium. And according to the concept of the total current, J total is J conduction plus J displacement, which is nothing but sigma E plus dou D by dou T. Sigma E is the conduction current and the dou D by dou T is the displacement current. But in dielectric medium, there is no conduction current, and it won't obey Ohm's law. So J conduction is equal to 0, that is sigma E is equal to 0. Therefore, in the above expression, if you consider sigma E is equal to 0, then del cross B can be written as mu into J total is sigma E is 0, so it can be dou D by dou T. So again, the expression for displacement and the D is equal to epsilon D. Therefore, del cross B is equal to mu into epsilon can be taken out, epsilon into dou E by dou D. This is equation 2. Actually, this is modified Maxwell's fourth equation, and it can also be written as B is equal to mu into H. H is applied magnetic field. So in the left hand side of the equation, instead of B, you can substitute mu H and you can take mu outside. So it can be written as mu into del cross H is equal to mu epsilon dou D by dou T. Mu gets cancelled. So del cross H is equal to epsilon into dou E by dou T. It is another form of Maxwell's fourth equation. If you consider in the free space, del cross H is equal to, it is epsilon naught into dou E by dou T, where epsilon naught is permittivity of free space, E is the electric field. Because of this, H is generated, some magnetic field is there. So modified Maxwell's fourth equation, either it should be expressed by equation 2, which is del cross B is mu epsilon dou E by dou T, or del cross H is equal to epsilon naught dou E by dou T. This you have to use for plane electromagnetic wave equation as well as a Poynting theorem. You should use these expressions. So you should be aware of all these four equations, 1, 2, 3. So once again I'll explain. Because of the concept of the conduction current, the J total is, it is a combination of conduction current and displacement current, which is sigma E plus dou D by dou T. So you should modify Maxwell's fourth equation. Actually, Maxwell's fourth equation is del cross B is equal to mu naught J. If you consider a dielectric medium or free space, it is del cross B is equal to mu J total. For in a medium, mu J total. So where mu is the permeability of a medium. We know that J total is J conduction plus J displacement, which is sigma E plus dou D by dou T. But in dielectric medium, J conduction sigma E is equal to 0. Therefore, we will be getting del cross B is equal to mu into dou D by dou T because sigma E is equal to 0. But D is equal to epsilon E, where D is the displacement current. So it can be written as del cross B is equal to epsilon can be taken out mu epsilon dou E by dou T. But D is equal to mu into H. So it can be written as in the left hand side mu into del cross H is equal to mu epsilon dou E by dou T. Mu gets cancelled. So del cross H is equal to epsilon into dou E by dou T, which is equation 3. In free space, the same can be written as del cross H is equal to epsilon naught dou E by dou T. All these 1, 2, 3, 4 equations, they are called as modified forms of Maxwell's fourth equation. If you want, you take it, write it, Maxwell's fourth equation modified. Is this clear, students? In the exam also, you should write as it is. I am giving this PPT as per the exam is concerned. It's notes actually. Girls, is it okay? Respond.
Yes, sir.
Boys, shall I proceed? You will be copying this.
Yes, sir.
Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
I'll share the PPT anyhow. But better you keep a notes and write the steps when I am explaining. Then I think it will be more convenient for you. And this definition also you should know, which is plane wave, sometimes plane electromagnetic wave. Just to take the definition with these diagrams, if the electric and magnetic vectors of an electromagnetic you have, wave is having same magnitude at all points of any plane perpendicular to direction of propagation, then the wave is called as plane wave. So electromagnetic wave is consisting of both electric field and magnetic wave. If these are having same values at all points in a plane which is perpendicular to the wave propagation, then that plane is called as, that wave is called as a plane wave. So if you see that one, the electric field vector is represented with the red wave, red color, and magnetic field is with the blue one, and the direction is along positive x-axis. Then if they are having, if you take any point, it has same values in a given plane, then the wave is called as a plane wave. E is electric field vector. You should remember this definition. B is magnetic field vector and C is propagation of wave. If the electric and magnetic field vectors of an electromagnetic wave is having the same magnitude at all points during its propagation, perpendicular to the wave propagation, then the wave is called as a plane wave. With this diagram, we should represent it. Sometimes you will get it for 2 marks. So remember this. And this is very, very important. You take the heading equation of plane electromagnetic wave in space. Take the heading equation of plane electromagnetic wave in free space. So here we should obtain the mathematical equation for a plane electromagnetic wave in free space. Further, let us consider a homogeneous free space means it's a dielectric medium. Consider a homogeneous isotropic dielectric medium. So all properties are same. That's why it is called as homogeneous isotropic. So it has a uniformness for different properties, and also a dielectric medium. So in the dielectric medium, you know there is no conductivity. It won't obey Ohm's law. So conductivity J is equal to 0 and resistance is infinity. And also because there is no conduction current, there is no volume distribution of charge. So current rho is equal to charge density, rho is equal to 0. Therefore, in a dielectric medium, we can write the charge density rho is equal to 0. conduction current J is equal to 0 and V is equal to mu H. In dielectric medium, we are using the permeability H is applied field, and in dielectric medium only displacement current is there. There is no conduction current. So D is equal to epsilon E. So in the dielectric medium, we can have rho is 0, charge density is 0, conduction current is 0, V is equal to mu H, and D is equal to epsilon E, where V is magnetic field and D is displacement current. Therefore, the Maxwell's equations for this dielectric medium can be modified as the first equation. Actually, we have del dot E is equal to rho by epsilon naught. So the electric field is 1 by epsilon naught times the charge. Again, charge is expressed in terms of the charge density. So the Maxwell's equation is del dot E is equal to rho by epsilon naught, but here rho is equal to 0. Therefore, del dot E is equal to 0. And second equation, of course, it is del dot B is equal to 0. There is no change here. And the third equation, del cross E is equal to minus dou B by dou T. This is Maxwell's third equation differential form. And fourth equation, del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou E by dou T. Just now we have derived this here. Equation 2 is del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou E by dou T. The same we took here. So to obtain an plane electromagnetic wave equation, let us consider a homogeneous isotropic dielectric medium. So in a dielectric medium, the resistance is infinity and the conductivity is 0. And also in the dielectric medium, there is no volume distribution of charge. Rho is equal to 0. Therefore, for a dielectric medium, we can write rho is equal to 0 and conductivity J is equal to 0, V is equal to mu H, and displacement current D is equal to epsilon E. Therefore, Maxwell's equations become del dot E is equal to 0 because rho is 0, del dot B is equal to 0, del cross E is minus dou B by dou T, and del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou E by dou T. Please note down this 1, 2, 3, 4 equations. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Only should identify these equations, then the entire part is basing on mathematics. The properties of L and vector calculus only. Just by rearranging the terms, you can obtain plane electromagnetic equation. These four basic equations for a dielectric medium you should remember. Del dot E is equal to 0, del dot B is equal to 0, del cross B is minus dou B by dou T, and del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou B by dou T. Now you should take equation 4. So equation 4 is del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou E by dou T. Then further, you take del cross, operate on both sides, both left hand side and right hand side. So it can be written as del cross B is equal to del cross mu epsilon dou E by dou T. For mathematical convenience, on both sides, you take the vector product of LHS and RHS into del. So that is del cross B is equal to del cross mu epsilon dou E by dou T. So that is mu epsilon can be taken out, mu epsilon into del cross dou E by dou T. Or mu epsilon dou by dou T can also taken out, it is del cross E. But from equation 3, del cross E is equal to minus dou B by dou T. Therefore, it becomes del cross B is equal to mu epsilon, already dou by dou T is there, dou cross E is minus dou B by dou T. So it is minus dou B by dou T you can take. And you can take negative side in the outside. So finally it should be minus mu epsilon dou square V by dou T square. That is equation 5. This is simple mathematics. Is it clear, students? First we have taken Maxwell's fourth equation, which is del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou E by dou T. For this, you are taking the vector product of del on both sides. So del cross B is equal to del cross mu epsilon dou E by dou T. Again, it can be written as, let us write this expression. More. So it is, so del cross mu epsilon dou E by dou T. Mu epsilon can be taken out, so it is mu epsilon into del cross dou E by dou T. Again, it can be written as mu epsilon. Dou by dou T can also taken out, dou by dou T of del cross C. But from the Maxwell's equations, del cross C is equal to minus dou B by dou T. So in the above expression, instead of dou cross C, you can substitute dou B by dou T, minus dou B by dou T. Therefore, we will be getting del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou by dou T of del cross C can be replaced with minus dou B by dou T. That is nothing but minus mu epsilon dou square B by dou T square. This is equation 5. And also from the properties of del, we have del cross B is equal to del into del dot B minus del square B. This you should take directly. Using vector calculus, probably you have a proof. A cross B cross C is A into A cross dot B, something expression is there. The same we have applied here. So del cross B from the properties can be written as del into del dot B minus del square B. But del dot B is equal to 0, del B is equal to 0. Therefore, del cross B is equal to minus del square B. This is equation 6. So if you compare equation 5 and 6, you can write actually minus del square B is equal to minus mu epsilon dou square B by dou T square. Minus minus gets cancelled. So finally, we'll get del square B is equal to mu epsilon dou square B by dou T square. This is equation 7. Any doubts, students? Girls?
No, sir.
Boys? Can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if you take equation 3 in the initially, and if you take the same thing, if you take del cross E is equal to, if you take in the same way, you can write del square E is equal to mu epsilon dou square E by dou T square. You can try at home also. Both need not do, only one equation is sufficient. I took equation 4 and take the vector product, and by using the properties of del, you can get del square B is equal to mu epsilon dou square B by dou T square. Similarly, if you solve equation 3, we'll get del square E is equal to mu epsilon dou square B by dou T square, equation 8. So 7 and 8, equations 7 and 8, they are wave propagation equations, and they have periodic equation variations of both electric and magnetic fields. If you see, here you have both the mu and epsilon, where mu is permeability related to magnetism, epsilon is permeability related to the electricity, and they are replaced, expressed in terms of the second order differential equation with an operator there. So these are called as equations of plane electromagnetic waves, and they represent the relation between space and time variation of magnetic field and electric field respectively. So del square B is equal to mu epsilon dou square B by dou T square is a wave equation for a magnetic field. Del square E is equal to mu epsilon dou square E by dou T square is a wave equation for electric field. So these equations are called as plane electromagnetic wave equations, and they represent the relation between space and time variation of B and A respectively. So general plane wave equation, if you take, it is del square y is equal to 1 by b square into dou square y by dou t square. Equation 9. So general equation of a wave propagating in a medium is del square y is equal to 1 by b square dou square y by dou t square, where y is the amplitude and v is the velocity. So if you compare equation 7, 8, 9, we can write 1 by b square is equal to mu epsilon, or v is equal to 1 by under root mu epsilon. So this is the expression. If you consider a free space, in free space it can be written as v is equal to 1 by under root mu naught epsilon naught. So if you take the values, mu naught is 4.2 10 power minus 7 Henry per meter, and epsilon is 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad per meter. Then if you substitute those values in above expression, v is equal to 1 by under root mu naught epsilon naught, you can get v is equal to 3 into 10 power minus 8 meter per second, which is c, which is speed of light. That is, in free space, electromagnetic wave travels at the speed of light, or other way is, an electromagnetic light is electromagnetic in nature, and it travels at the speed of 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So this clearly indicates that the electromagnetic wave travels at a speed of light in a free space. The velocity is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So this is the plane electromagnetic wave equation. So in this expression, we have to obtain a plane electromagnetic wave equation in a dielectric medium. Further, you consider a homogeneous isotropic dielectric medium. In isotropic dielectric medium, the resistance is very high and infinity you can assume, and conductivity is 0. And also there is no volume distribution of charge, so rho is equal to 0. Therefore, in a dielectric medium, rho is equal to 0, conductivity J is equal to 0, B is equal to mu h, and B is equal to epsilon E. So Maxwell's equations can be modified as del dot E is equal to 0 because rho is equal to 0, and del dot B is equal to 0, del cross V is minus dou V by dou T, and del cross B is equal to mu epsilon dou E by dou T. So these are the Maxwell's equations for this specific problem. Now you take equation 4 and take the vector product. So del cross B is mu epsilon dou E by dou T. Then you take the vector product of del. So it is del cross B is del cross mu epsilon dou E by dou T. So by rearranging you can get mu epsilon dou by dou T of del cross E, where but del cross E is minus dou V by dou T. So by putting that you will be getting minus mu epsilon dou square V by dou T square. But from the properties of del, we have del cross V is del into del dot V minus del square V. But del dot V is equal to 0. Therefore, LHS becomes only minus del square V. So from equations 5 and 6, you can write del square V is equal to mu epsilon dou square V by dou T square. In a similar way, if you simplify equation 3, you can get del square V is equal to mu epsilon dou square V by dou T square. So these equations 7 and 8 are wave propagation equations. They have periodic variations of both electric and magnetic fields, and they represent the relation between space and time variation of magnetic and electric fields respectively. And also the general plane wave equation is del square y is 1 by v square dou square by dou t square. If you compare 7, 8, 9, you can write 1 by v square is mu epsilon, and v is 1 by under root mu epsilon. In a free space, it is 1 by under root mu naught epsilon naught. If you put the values of mu naught and epsilon naught, you can obtain v is 3 into 10 power minus 8 meter per second, which is nothing but the speed of light c. So the conclusion is electromagnetic wave travels at the speed of light, which is 3 into 10 power minus 8 meter per second. Or light wave is electromagnetic in nature and it travels in space in form of electromagnetic wave, which speed of which is the speed is 3 into 10 power minus 8 meter per second. So this is the plane electromagnetic wave equation in free space. This derivation is very important, and you should practice this derivation. And finally, last one, you have a pointing theorem and a pointing vector. Please take this figure, graph. What definition of pointing vector is important, and also pointing theorem is also important. Listen this carefully. It seems to be a little bit confused, but it's only properties of vectors only we can obtain the expression for pointing vector. And basically, the rate at which electromagnetic energy is transmitted through unit area, which is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of energy, is called as pointing vector. So at what rate the electromagnetic energy is transmitted per unit area, which is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of energy, is called as pointing vector. That means pointing vector represents the amount of energy transferred per unit area perpendicular to the direction of propagation of energy. So a pointing theorem is also there, the expression is also there. How we can say it is it represents the energy transmission? Small theorem is there, which is called as pointing theorem. So to understand this, let us consider a plane electromagnetic wave traveling along x-axis. As shown in the figure, with its magnetic and electric fields h comma e confined along y and z axis respectively. Otherwise, you can reverse this also, nothing will happen. Here it is given as the magnetic field is along z axis, electric field is along y axis respectively. So thus the wave electromagnetic wave propagates along the direction of propagation of vector E cross H, which is known as pointing vector. Pointing vector is represented by P. P is equal to E cross H. So this is the representation of pointing vector. Pointing vector, it is the rate at which electromagnetic energy transmitted through unit area perpendicular to the direction of propagation of energy. It is represented by P. P is given by E into E cross H, where E and H are electric and magnetic fields respectively. So it represents the amount of energy transferred in 1 second through unit area. So to understand this, let us consider an electromagnetic wave is traveling along positive x-axis with its electric and magnetic fields confined along y and z axis respectively. Then the propagation vector, this wave propagates along the direction of the propagation vector P, given by P is equal to E cross H. So units are watts per meter square for this current units only, and you have a Poynting theorem now. So first what you should do is, you should take the divergence of Poynting vector. Poynting vector is represented by P. So del dot P, divergence of Poynting vector is del dot P and del dot P. Therefore del dot P is equal to del dot Poynting vector P is E cross H. So the divergence of Poynting vector is given by del dot P is equal to del dot E cross H. This is equation 1. And from the properties of del, we have del dot E cross H is equal to H into del cross E minus E into del cross H. So A dot B cross C is, you can write in this way: C into del cross A minus B into del cross A. So the same from the properties of del, you can write del dot E cross H is equal to H into del cross E minus E into del cross H. From Maxwell's equations, we have del cross E is minus dou B by dou T and del cross H is equal to dou D by dou T. So in the above equation, instead of del cross E, you should substitute minus dou B by dou T. Instead of del cross H, you have to substitute dou D by dou T. The same we did here. So in equation 1 or 2, you have to substitute del dot E cross H is equal to, here H into del cross E is replaced with minus dou B by dou T, minus E into del cross H is represented by dou D by dou T. The same we did here. So Poynting vector, it represents the rate at which electromagnetic energy transmitted per unit area perpendicular to direction of propagation of energy, which is represented by P. P is equal to E cross H. If you take the divergence of P, you can write del dot P is equal to del dot E cross H. So from the properties of del, the same can be written as del dot E cross H is equal to H into del cross E minus E into del cross H. From Maxwell's equations, we have del cross E is minus dou B by dou T, del cross H is equal to dou D by dou T. So by putting in the above expression, you will be getting del dot E cross H is equal to H into minus dou B by dou T minus E into dou D by dou T. Only mathematical part here in this we have. So del dot E cross H is equal to the same I have repeated here, H into minus dou B by dou T minus E into dou B by dou T. If you take the negative sign as common, it is minus of E into dou B by dou T plus H into dou B by dou T. But we know that in free space, D is equal to epsilon naught E and B is equal to mu naught H, where D is displacement current and B is magnetic field. Epsilon naught is permittivity of free space, mu naught is permeability of medium, E and H permeability of free space, E and H are electric and magnetic fields respectively. Therefore, del dot E cross H is equal to minus, instead of D, you can substitute epsilon naught E and epsilon can be taken out. I did it directly. So this is minus of epsilon naught E dou E by dou T. Similarly, I did here also. B is equal to mu naught H. Mu naught can be taken out. So mu naught H into dou H by dou T. So we are substituting, instead of D, you can substitute epsilon naught E and epsilon naught can be taken out. Instead of B, you can substitute mu naught H. Mu naught can be taken out. Therefore, del dot E cross H is equal to minus of epsilon naught E dou E by dou T plus mu naught H dou H by dou T. Again, the same can be written as minus into, here for mathematical convenience, we can multiply and divide it into half here. The same I did here. So this is half into epsilon naught 2E. It won't change the value dou E by dou T. Yes, in the second term also we can do the same thing. Half into mu naught 2H dou H by dou T. We are multiplying, dividing 2 only here. Again, it can be written as minus of half epsilon naught 2E dou E by dou T is nothing but dou E square by dou T. That we can write it here. So dou E square by dou T plus a half mu naught dou H square by dou T, because the derivation 2H dou H by dou T is nothing but dou H square by dou T. The same, this is only a mathematical part. For mathematical convenience, you can do it here. And then del dot E cross H will become, if you bring minus dou by dou T, to take common, it is minus dou by dou T into half epsilon naught E square plus a half mu naught H square. And then you integrate it over a volume. So it is a triple integration on both sides. So this is triple integration. Del dot E cross H dV is equal to minus dou by dou T, triple integration half epsilon naught E square. Some printing mistake is there. I correct this. This should be square. So this should be over a volume, it is triple integration half epsilon naught E square plus half mu naught H square T. Is it clear, students? Just to go through this. It's only mathematics. We have from the previous expression del dot E cross H is equal to H into minus dou B by dou T minus E into dou D by dou T. I can take minus as common. So minus into E into dou D by dou T plus H into dou B by dou T. But D is equal to epsilon naught E, B is equal to mu naught H. You can take out epsilon naught and mu naught from D by dt. The same idea here. So it can be minus into half epsilon naught epsilon naught E dou E by dou T plus mu naught H dou H by dou T. For mathematical convenience, I can multiply and divide it to 2 here. So it can be minus a half epsilon naught 2E dou E by dou T plus a half mu naught dou H dou H by dou T. Again, it can be written as minus of a half epsilon naught dou E square by dou T plus a half mu naught dou H square by dou T. And finally, it can be minus dou by dou T of half epsilon naught E square plus a half mu naught H square. So if you integrate over a volume, then you will be getting triple integration on both sides with the dv. So triple integration del dot E cross H dv is equal to minus dou by dou T, triple integration half epsilon naught E square plus half mu naught H square dv. Now the same it is expressed as equation 3. Now from the Gauss divergence theorem, we have the surface integral of a vector over a closed surface is equal to the volume integral of divergence of the vector taken over a volume enclosed by the surface. So double integration of E cross H. E cross H is a Poynting vector, which is a vector. So the double integration of E cross H ds is equal to, it can be equal to the triple integration of divergence del dot E cross H dv according to Gauss divergence theorem. If you compare equation 3 and 4, so triple integration del dot E cross H dv is written as double integration E cross H ds. So if you can write surface integral of E cross H ds is equal to minus dou by dou T, volume integral of half epsilon naught E square plus a half mu naught H square d. This is equation 5. If you observe equation 5, the RHS of the equation 5 represents the amount of energy, because it is dou by dou T of sum of the energies. So it represents the amount of energy transferred over a volume in 1 second, which is equivalent to the surface integral. So thus the LHS of the equation represents the rate of flow of energy over the surface S enclosing a volume. Therefore, what is E cross H? E cross H is nothing but Poynting vector P. From the above, we conclude that Poynting vector P is equal to E cross H represents the rate of flow of energy per unit area, and this is known as Poynting theorem. So P is equal to E cross H is the Poynting vector. The units are watt per meter square, and equation 5 is called as Poynting theorem, because RHS represents the amount of energy transferred over a volume in 1 second, which is equivalent to surface integral E cross H ds. Because E cross H is equal to P, so it is a Poynting vector. Poynting vector P is equal to E cross H represents the rate at which electromagnetic energy is transferred per unit area normal to the direction of propagation of energy. And this is called as Poynting theorem. And P is equal to E cross H. The units are watt per meter square. So this is the definition of Poynting vector and Poynting theorem. Is this clear? Shall I explain once? Yes, students? Girls? You're there in the class?
Clear, sir.
Boys?
Yes, sir.
You should practice this, otherwise it will be difficult. And electromagnetic, the basics are first you should understand the Gauss law of electricity, Gauss law of magnetism, Faraday's law of electromagnetism, and Ampere's law. What actually the laws and what we are doing. So you should practice Maxwell's equations initially. If this is okay, then you can do all this, the concept of displacement current and modified Maxwell's equation, then plane electromagnetic wave equations and the Poynting theorem. They are the applications of these Maxwell's equations only. So, in this chapter, first scroll this electromagnetic waves basically they travel transverse in nature and they consisting of both electric field and magnetic field, and their accelerated charges are reinforced for producing electromagnetic waves, and velocity is as we discussed 1 by under root v naught epsilon naught. They travel at the speed of light and they does not require any material. These are the properties. And electromagnetic wave is frequency. The frequencies are same, but wavelength changes, and they have a wide range of frequency. And there are many applications of these electromagnetic waves in nature. All these space aircrafts, in medical, metro lanes, television, and radio. All these they use these electromagnetic waves because the certain even communication, satellite communication, we use these magnetic waves. And it is a coupling of time varying electric and magnetic fields is nothing. Free space is nothing but an electromagnetic wave. In this way, you can represent. And they have a wide range of frequencies, starting from 10 to 10 to the power of 22, of course, for different applications. So they includes all the visible light, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray, microwave, radio frequency. All are electromagnetic nature, and light is also electromagnetic nature. And in the first class, we have discussed what actually divergence of a vector, then curve of a vector, the three concepts, line integral, surface integral, and the volume integral. And these two are we are using, Gauss divergence theorem and Stokes theorem. Actually, they convert a two-dimensional quantity into one-dimensional or a three-dimensional quantity into two-dimensional by certain operators. They are Gauss divergence theorem and Stokes theorem. This we are using for solving to obtain Maxwell's equations. Then electric flux is the number of electric lines of force emanating from a charge, which is represented by surface integral v dot ds. Similarly, magnetic flux, number of magnetic lines of force passing through unit surface area. Phi b is the double integration of v dot ds. Then you have four laws, as we discussed: Gauss law of electricity, Gauss law of magnetism, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and Ampere's law. So first law says the electric flux over a closed surface is epsilon 1 by epsilon naught times the known net charge enclosed by the surface. That is electrical flux phi is a double integration e dot ds is p by epsilon naught. This is the integral form, but q is equal to triple integration rho dot v volume integral of rho. So by putting this, you can obtain del dot v is equal to rho by epsilon naught, which is the differential form of Maxwell's equation. Then Gauss law of magnetism, the net flux over a closed surface is zero. How many lines, magnetic lines of force are entering, the same must leave the surface. So net magnetic flux is zero, that is phi b is zero. Or surface integral v dot ds is equal to 0. This is the integral form. From the Gauss divergence theorem, it is nothing but surface integral v dot ds is equal to volume integral del dot v dv. From that, you can write del dot v is equal to 0, which is the differential form of Maxwell's second equation. Third equation represents Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Whenever the magnetic flux in a circuit is changed, some EMF is produced. This EMF is equal to the rate of change of magnetic flux. And again, in Lenz's law, it is both are opposite. So you can write E is minus dou pi d by dou t, but E is nothing but the line integral of E. So line integral v dot dn is equal to minus dou pi d by dou t, which is integral form of Maxwell's third equation. But we have a phi b is double integration v dot ds. From equation 3, line integral v dot dn is equal to minus dou pi d by dou t. By simplifying and also by applying Stokes theorem, finally you can derive del cross v is equal to minus rho v by rho t. This is the differential form of Maxwell's third equation. Then Maxwell's fourth equation describes Ampere's law, which is the line integral of v dot dl is mu naught I, which is the integral form. You can write the expression for I, which is double integration j dot ds, and using Stokes' theorem, finally we can get del cross b is equal to mu naught j. So these are the four Maxwell's equations, both in integral and differential form. Then Maxwell introduced the concept of displacement current to account for the production of magnetic fields in empty space. So it's a combination of both conduction current and displacement current. It can be observed by taking a simple example. The nature of current that flows through a resistor and that flows in the capacitor, both are different. So the total current is the sum of conduction current and displacement current, which is sigma E plus rho d by rho. This we use for the modification of fourth equation. So by using that, you can obtain equations 1, 2, 3, 4 in different forms, which are known as modified Maxwell's equations. And finally, this is a definition of the plane wave. And the equation of plane electromagnetic wave in free space, we are redefining the Maxwell's equations by equations 1, 2, 3, 4. By applying this, you can obtain equation 7, which is del square v is mu epsilon rho square v by rho t square, and del square v is mu epsilon rho square v by rho t square. 7 later wave propagation equations, which represent the periodic variations of electric and magnetic fields, known as plane electromagnetic wave equations. Comparing with general wave equation also, you can prove that v is equal to 1 by under root mu epsilon. In free space, it is 1 by under root mu naught epsilon. By simplifying, you will be getting 3 to 10 power minus 8 meter per second. So electromagnetic wave travels at the speed of light in free space, or light travels with light is an electromagnetic wave in nature in free space. These are the two conclusions. And Poynting theorem, it represents the rate at which electromagnetic energy is transmitted through unit area perpendicular to direction of propagation of energy. And by defining this and using some fundamentals of Maxwell's equations and properties of divergence, finally you can obtain equation 5. You practice this, read this thoroughly, and from this you can conclude that Poynting vector represents the amount of energy transferred per unit area per second, and which is called as Poynting theorem. So in this way, the chapter is completed in all aspects, and also the syllabus is also completed. The entire unit 3 is also completed, wave mechanics and electromagnetic theory. So from my side, along with the notes, I have completed each and everything, and your part is left now. So how you prepare, and this PPT is sufficient. As it is, you can write this in the exam. I will share this. I will fine tune this, and within today or tomorrow I will share this also, because this is also there in the syllabus. And when you are coming on Thursday, probably tomorrow I don't want to, I may not take the class. Just you go through this. If you have any doubts, you can interact with me. So WhatsApp not only in the college hours, there will be not beyond the college hours. And you have any doubts in this chapter, electromagnetic theory, students? You have to read that, I know, because everything is dumping on you, assignments, records, and the calculations, everything. I know you were pain is because of very pain. Again, there may be a possibility of lockdown, so I am praying God this week at least you should complete the experiments, so that even in online you can conduct exam, if it is the case. But probably I think offline only exams will be conducted. And you should work hard these 15 or 20 days. Because all you should write your internal exams, and lab preparation also you should do. 6th onwards you have external exams, followed by external theory examinations. And this time the rules have been changed. You should pass both internal and external. Yesterday the rules are shared, and especially 6 to 8, the promotion rules and how to pass. Suppose in the lab you have lab exams for 50 marks, you should get 28. At least 28 you should get 50% of the marks. And also internal also, in total you will be getting 50%. That means internal and external summation of these two should be 50%, and also you must pass external exam, even in the theory also. It's not a combination of CIE and SCE. In SCE also you must pass from this year, so you should be very careful. Even though the teacher gives 25 marks or 30 by a goodwill, you should pass in external exam also. For 70, at least you should get 30 marks. Then only you will be passed. This you keep in mind and you prepare for the examination. Tomorrow's maths sir will wish to take the class, he take it, and you can interact with me at any time during college hours, and some slots are also available. Again, I'll take the class in the next week. I'll brush up some of the important topics which may be important as far as exam is concerned. And, do you have any doubts? You want to ask something, students? You can. If nothing is there, I'll take attendance and I'll wind up the class.
Sir, internals are offline or online, sir?
Internals are online only. Internals online only. You need not come. Okay. Respond for the attendance. Roll number 61, 62,